lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Item 2 is the adoption of the meeting agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Comby. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item 3 is matters from the mayor. I wanted to take a moment to express my sincere appreciation for the dedication and hard work shown by the Waynesboro Police Department in locating the missing child. While there have been numerous reports circulating on social media suggesting that the department's efforts were less than satisfactory, I feel it's important to make my perspective clear. I unequivocally disagree with those opinions. The men and women involved in this search worked tirelessly and with unwavering commitment, and I am truly grateful for everything that they did to bring this child safely home. It's easy for the efforts of law enforcement to be misunderstood or overlooked, especially in challenging situations like this one. However, I want to publicly acknowledge and thank each member of the team for their professionalism and determination. We are relieved and thankful that the child is now home and safe. Please know your work does not go unnoticed, and your dedication to our community is deeply appreciated. Thank you again for all that you do. Item 4 is matters from council.
I did want to address one thing that I said I would. After the proposal of the ballot initiative on the 1% sales tax, just to explain the thought process on that a little bit. Everybody here knows, obviously, the second high school renovation, the $55 to $60 million project's already begun. The past 2 years, we've initiated, I think, 2 cents and 3 cents or 3 cents and 3 cents to get to the 15 cents on our tax rate that the debt payment on the $55 or $60 million renovation is going to be. That put us in a unique position for this proposed tax, for sales tax. Because we haven't borrowed on this debt yet, it would be on the table to apply this 1% sales tax to. What that would allow us as a governing body to do, if it were to pass successfully on the ballot, would be to not have to raise another 11 cents, 10 or 11 cents in tax revenue in order to pay for that annually. And instead, that would allow 1% of the sales tax, and we don't know the full layout of that, but we do know that it would not, it wouldn't apply to groceries, I think, is one of the basically essential items it doesn't apply to. But what it would allow is for the west end of town, anybody that comes and shops there would be helping to support and build our schools. And it would also allow us to take a little bit of the burden off of the taxpayers of the city, and that would be up to us to figure out whether that would be adjusting, tax rate on your property tax, whether it be personal property tax. We wouldn't have to raise another $3.5 million worth of tax revenue if this were to pass. So I just want everyone to know this isn't, an option of frivolousness that we're just trying to tax the snot out of everybody. We're actually trying to utilize this to be able to reduce the tax burden on the homeowners and residents of the city, and try to, make that happen. And since it only affects new construction, we're actually postponing pulling the debt payment, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. McCormick, until after we see whether the ballot initiative passes. All right, so we have put a lot of thought into it. It's an opportunity that just, kind of fell in front of us through the state. So keep that in mind, and if anybody has any questions, you can stick around afterwards. Feel free to talk about it.
But just thank you for sharing that, and want to echo those remarks. I think it's important to recognize that all of the meals, lodging, sales tax revenue that's generated in the city also supports all other aspects of our government, right? So it's not like these funds are partitioned for use of one thing. They're used for the mutual benefit of all citizens who come, live, and visit our community, and for that benefit of that. And I would also, I've heard some folks that don't live in the city concerned about it, but I would also say that, our labor force supports industry outside of the county that generates enormous machine tool tax revenue for the county, of which we don't realize any benefit from. So there's this mutual symbiotic relationship as it relates to revenue that I think can't be understated, right? That our region thrives and succeeds because of what we all put into it together. Like we've seen for communities since, I think we might have been one of the first ones in the valley that did the yay vote, but y'all, I'm seeing it all up and down the valley that people are recognizing that this is an important tool in the toolbox. If citizens agree, if you don't, we still got to come back. If it doesn't pass, to be direct and blunt, just like my colleague stated, we'll have to come and raise real estate revenue. That's the only other place we can get it from. So it's either that or the 1%. So thank you for sharing.
That's good. Okay. Thank you both. Item 5 is consideration of the consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Mrs. Swope. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item 6 is to hold a public hearing and consider adopting an ordinance conveying real property to the Waynesboro Redevelopment and Housing Authority for construction of workforce or affordable housing. Mr. Hamp.
Yes, sir. Good evening. By way of just a refresher, this is the item that we presented last meeting. It pursues the desired partnership born out of conversation between the City Council and the Waynesboro Redevelopment Housing Authority, recognizing the need for affordable and workforce housing in our community. We've talked about this in our partnership conversation with the Redevelopment Housing Authority. We asked them, what could we do to support your efforts in the area? And the top of the list response from them was land. If you have developable land available for a housing project, they could use that for a project. Subsequently, staff identified the 6.4 acre parcel at 1200 Shenandoah Avenue. A portion of that parcel is used for our regional social services offices, but about 2/3 of the parcel is available for a housing project. I think there's a concept plan that's been developed. Transferring the property and eventually subdividing and rezoning the property are necessary steps in order for the RHA to pursue their project in earnest. This evening, council is asked to conduct a public hearing on the matter.
Any questions?
Yeah, could you elaborate a little bit on the email we all received today about the rating?
Sure. So last week I was notified by the HUD office that in a communication that was also transmitted to the Housing Authority, that in a recent performance audit, they had not scored well. I called Ms. Bird, the executive director, and learned she was eager to explain that the poor scoring was attributable to an error on the part of their auditor, actually attributable to 2 errors on the part of their auditor. First was that the report was not submitted by the required deadline, and they lost significant points for that. And then secondly, a key performance factor is the RHA's occupancy rate. For last year, or the audit year, they had an occupancy rate of 99, and I think the reported occupancy was between 90 and 94. So Ms. Bird and her staff have already transmitted a response letter to HUD, and our hope is that they will receive a corrective or approval or an improved score shortly. I would, how do I qualify that statement by the fact that they are just receiving this information now, and we're in July, for an audit that was submitted in September of 2025. So the review and score of the original audit didn't happen very quickly. Our hope is that review of the letter of appeal will happen very quickly.
Is that period of time normal for an audit report?
I don't know. Normally, I mean, this was an exceptional experience because in the past, we've never had, or they've never had, a scoring of this nature. I would note that Ms. Byrd is present, and she probably could answer these questions better than I can, but that's the extent of the information that I have.
Is this information that we would have that we would be able to make a decision tonight, or should we entertain the thought of tabling it until we get more clarification?
I think that's up to the body. I'm reasonably confident that this matter will resolve itself, and so I think you could make a legitimate case to act tonight. I do realize and acknowledge, however, that knowing for sure that the agency was in good standing before we move forward would provide some comfort.
Yeah, no, that's understood. Ms. Bird's always ran a good organization. I'm not saying that at all, but I just don't want to be put on a spot where this council has to make a decision before we have, you know, the full story. And, you know, that could come back on us if, you know, who knows? I don't have a crystal ball is what I'm saying.
That's true, and I shared it only because the timing is awkward and inconvenient. I wouldn't want you to vote and then find out after the vote that there was this circumstance. So it's a full disclosure moment, but not a great amount of concern on my part that we'll have a good and bona fide partner moving forward.
Yeah, I'm just asking just based on the timing of it.
Sure.
I don't want to put Ms. Bird in a compromising position by asking her questions she don't have the answer to, or, you know, us having, you know, being able to make a complete decision.
I spoke to Ms. Bird, and I'm sorry.
Can you tell me what exactly does a bad performance rating mean? What does it mean in the finality of it?
I cannot tell you that. It just seems like a bad thing, a less than desirable. I'm not trying to be smart. I mean,
Yeah.
Ms. Bird probably could give you.
Well, can we have Ms. Bird? Do we have
Yeah.
time for Ms. Bird to come up and maybe answer that question? Because, I mean, I would feel more comfortable with some answers before I make.
Ms.
Go
Bird.
ahead.
Can I ask for clarification on one thing just before she speaks? Because it would still be nice to hear her take on it. We did word the resolution that the conveyance of the property would be contingent upon the actual approval of the loan, well, and the loan type or something. We put a contingency on the transmission of the property,
Yes, we did.
Yes.
right? So, I mean, if it were to fall through and they weren't able to get the funding for the project, we just wouldn't convey the property, correct?
Correct.
And for whatever reason, right? For whatever reason. I mean, including a bad rating. So then,
Well, I don't know that the bad rating would have anything to do with it unless, that's what I said, I wanted
Okay.
clarity on that prior to her coming up, because she would probably be able to explain it, because I think that just might make it a little more difficult if there were contingencies.
Good evening, council. So basically, just to clarify the question that you asked earlier, it is the time frame that we're notified. So housing authorities, so as an example, for the 2025 year, or let's say 2024, this is the year in question, is 2024. So for 2024, we are audited during June or July, whenever our auditors come, and then they have to submit the, it's called the FDS, the financial data submission. They have to do that by September 30th of 2025, and then we aren't notified until June or July as to the scoring. HUD moves very, very slowly. So we were recently notified that we did not receive the full points for our financial status. There's basically 4 levels of grading that is done for a housing authority. One is your financials, So the maximum score is 25, and we actually got 19 point something. That should have been our score, but it is due by September 30th at midnight, and they submitted it, and it was a few seconds late. So late is late, literally a few seconds late. So at that point, you score 0, and that is more of a clerical error, a time error. And then the second item that we did not score the maximum of points on was occupancy. The maximum point of management is 20 points, and we were docked 15 points, even though our occupancy was 99.16%. There was an error, and it was 91.67, and that's why we did not score the maximum points. Again, we were just notified. We had 30 days to respond. Our auditors have submitted to me. I have responded to HUD. We should be at the standard performance as we were once our appeal is approved, and we received the points for the 99% occupancy that we actually were. That was a objectively verifiable error that we can show that we can correct. The information has already been submitted to HUD to verify that we were at 99.16% for 2024. And then the financials, we just have to verify that basically late is late, but I did submit the letter, the appeal letter that we submitted to HUD. I did submit that to Mr. Hamp, and basically it's saying that due to it just being a time error, the burden of responsibility for us to have to do would not be, it would be basically very burden-ridden for us, and it was not a performance and compliance issue. It was a clerical issue. So that's the surrounding of it. And again, I did include Mr. Hamp on the letter that we submitted for the approval for HUD, for the appeal. And that's probably going to take about 30 days for us to receive that. Same thing will happen this year. Our auditors will come the end of this week, tomorrow, the end of the month, and they will submit it, and then they'll have to submit by September 30th, and we won't know until this time next year what our 2025 score is. Basically, what happens is that I have to respond to HUD and tell them how we're going to fix where we fell short, and there's really nothing to fix as far as compliance or procedure. We just have to not submit late and make sure that our correct occupancy is recorded. We have Dooley and Vickers out of Richmond. We put the audit out for bid. It's our procurement. So we put that out for bid, and we do housing authorities. We actually have 2 auditors that we work with, and due to some corrections that were made at the last minute, when they submitted, they literally submitted. They started submitting prior to midnight, but with the final, there's like a 3-step process when they submit to REACT, which is the real estate assessment for HUD. And when they finished submitting, I believe it was shortly after midnight. And late is late when, according to HUD. And then you have to file your appeal to substantiate why.
Dooley and Vickers is a company that does this normally, yes?
They've been doing our audit for over 20 years.
Have they ever made a mistake like this?
No, they have not.
How much was the bid for? How much do we pay them?
How much do we pay them? It is around between $18,000 and $19,000 per year.
And how are we gonna be compensated for their mistake?
That's what I was thinking.
You mean how is the housing authority going to be compensated? Yeah, yeah. Well,
Well, the taxpayer
that's exactly right.
comes from.
Yeah, they will be here tomorrow at my office, so we'll be having that conversation, along with HSF Consulting, and we utilize them for, it's really a 2-step process. We do a unaudited financial that's submitted in February, and then in September, they do the final financials, which are audited, that they do after they show up on site, and they look through our books. And, housing authorities are required to be audited every year. So they come every year and they audit us. We've never had a finding in at least the 10 years that I've been here, and I've been at the Housing Authority longer than that, but I'm not aware of any findings that we've ever had. Again, this is a time error.
Have they already been, who is the ones going to do the next audit? Is that bidding process already done?
We will be putting it out for bid again.
Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we do not have a lot of auditors that have experience in housing authorities, but it will be going out for bid again this year.
So, given her explanation, I don't think there's any big deal. She's talking about something we've never had a finding before, and she's talking about timing, a clerical error. I mean, unless there's something that's not being said underlying, I personally am good with go. But she
And-
did say it's 30 days.
So I would just pose the question to you so that you get 100% clarity. Do you think that this is going to inhibit your ability to do anything that you plan on doing, or the housing authorities?
Absolutely not. So basically what happens is that we have to provide we have to make sure that going on the next year that we're back into our standard scoring, and that will be done September 30th when we have our next audit. So we've already required our auditors to submit it 30 days in advance. Believe me, I've been very, very upset over this over the past few weeks that this has happened again. This has never happened, and I've been at the Housing Authority since 1995. Not in this position, but at the authority. And again, I have no concerns that this will not be an issue going forward, that this will be an issue going forward. And again, I did share the appeal letter with Mr. Hamp specifying, again, to HUD why our score was low in those two areas, and the justification for that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Anything else?
Any other questions from Ms. Blair?
You've always had a good track record. I'm not concerned with you. I'm concerned with the company that did the audit more than
And believe me, I am as well, and we will have a board meeting, and my Board of Commissioners have the same concerns as well. So I do appreciate that, sir.
happy if you share that information you get tomorrow with us. You know,
I'll be glad to. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I don't know, I still think I would feel comfortable to table it until we found out something. We've got a couple options coming up as far as meetings when we can revisit this, correct?
Yeah, you have August, I believe the 10th. We're off on the 24th of August, or we're scheduled to be off. You could certainly call the meeting if you desired. I would politely remind everybody that we have to do a public hearing before we do anything. Let's go ahead and get that taken care of.
I hereby open the public hearing.
No one has signed up to speak, sir.
I hereby close the public hearing. So,
Just a point of order. So it's a motion and a second, and then final vote at the next meeting.
So actually, if you'll recall,
We had a motion.
introduced, second, and discussed at the
So this
previous.
is final
So
action.
you can just call the question at that point.
Correct.
Attorney.
With that being the case, I would make a motion to table it at least until the next meeting,
Yeah, I'll second that.
until we get some more information. I hope that doesn't screw anything Kim's doing, because she does do a fine job.
okay, so we have a motion to table this item, and properly seconded by Mr. Short. All in favor to table until the August 10th meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm opposed.
Ayes have it 4-1. Item 7 is a whole public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2027 budget in the amount of $4,052,513. Mr. McCormick.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. This item was appropriately introduced, seconded, and discussed at the last meeting. It just needs a public hearing and final consideration this evening. Just what has happened between the introduction and potential adoption is this item and item 7 and item 8 were both advertised in the news leaders 719 and 720 in concurrent compliance with Virginia State Code requirements. Ms. Akonbi asked last meeting, and I didn't have the numbers in front of me at that point, what triggers a public hearing, and it's 1% of the adopted budget. And so the way we read that is 1% of the originally adopted budget. It's not clear in state code either way, but 1% of the originally is the more conservative of the two numbers after we do amendments. So for 2026, which would affect item 8, that was $1,568,000, and for 2027, that was $1,675,000. So both of these items met public hearing requirements. Council has any procedural or content questions, I'd be happy to answer them now. If not, we can hold the public hearing and call a question if council desires.
Thank you for remembering that, Cameron.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? I hereby open the public hearing.
No one has signed up to speak.
I hereby close the public hearing. This ordinance was properly introduced and seconded at the previous meeting. Unless there are questions or additional discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor of the ordinance amending the 2027 budget in the amount of $4,052,513 to fund the small capital program, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item 8 is to hold a public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2026 budget in the amount of $6,670,000. Mr. McCormick.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. So the only thing to point out on this is this should be the final budget amendment for fiscal year 2026. And this is just the school side. This is the grant that the schools received for engineering and some construction on the new high school project. The total grant, I believe, was like $8.5 million. This amount represents the portion of work that they estimated was done during 2026. And when we talked with our auditors, they said that we needed to show the revenue and the expenditure both on the school side and on the city bond fund. So this is the school portion. The city bond fund has already been done.
Any questions? I hereby open the public hearing.
No one has signed up to speak.
I hereby close the public hearing. This ordinance was properly introduced and seconded at the previous meeting. Unless there are questions or additional discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor of the ordinance amending the 2026 budget in the amount of $6,670,000, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item 9 is consider adopting 2 resolutions supporting the city's applications for funding under the Virginia Department of Transportation's Smart Scale Program. Ms. Tate, Director of Community Development.
Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. At the end of this week, your staff will be submitting smart scale grant applications to fund transportation projects. These are 100% grant funded and do not require any city match. The first one that I would like to go over this evening is named the Lou DeWitt Pedestrian Project, and this project proposes construction of approximately 2,700 linear feet of 5-foot sidewalk along the west side of Lou DeWitt from West Main Street to Shepherd Court. The project would also include some curb ramp upgrades and then a high visibility pedestrian crossing of Shepherd Court. So this shows the orange line is representative of that 5-foot sidewalk beginning there at Shepherd Court, and it would continue along Lou DeWitt, filling in any missing sidewalk gaps that have not been completed with any kind of recent commercial development. And then they would continue and tie into pedestrian improvements that will be coming along West Main Street with a different project that was previously funded through Smart Scale. So this is one of the applications that we are requesting a resolution of support for this evening. And then the second one is called the Rosser Avenue Improvements, and it's from Lou DeWitt to Northgate and represents several things. So this project proposes construction of the full preferred alternative from a recently completed project pipeline study of Rosser Avenue. So the project would construct a bundle of treatments at the 340 Lou DeWitt intersection, which you can see here. That would include Windy Grove Drive access management changes, conversion of the 2 northbound left turn lanes onto Rosser Avenue into a single left turn lane, and install a raised median. You can see the extension also of Chickerell Lane to provide rear access to businesses that would be affected by the median along Windy Grove. Lengthen the eastbound left turn lanes on Rouser Avenue, widen the left turn receiving lanes on northbound Lou DeWitt, and the right turn receiving lanes on westbound Rosser Avenue. This project would also include the installation of sidewalk along Rosser Avenue to fill gaps between Lou DeWitt all the way down to Northgate. So this sketch shows those various improvements there at the intersection. And this is an intersection with high safety improvement potential. And then this sketch shows the orange 5-foot sidewalk that would be filled in along Rosser, here picking up with existing sidewalk along Martins and then continuing all the way down. This is a proposed and approved townhouse development that's constructing sidewalk along their frontage, and it would continue down to Northgate. So those are the two applications that are being applied for, and we are required to submit resolutions of support from City Council for those. And so we're asking for those to be approved this evening, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions for Ms. Tate?
What's the estimated cost of the smart scale project? Because that's a big, I mean, I imagine that's a high number.
Yeah, so I don't want to misspeak. I think I remember the one for Lou DeWitt when we applied for the full length. It did not get funded. I think some of the issue is, the high cost, but then also a kind of a movement away in smart scale from funding more of the pedestrian projects. But our hope and recommendation from VDOT was if we scaled that project back and just did West Main to Shepherd, the cost would be lower and maybe it could score higher. So I will get you that number, but I don't want to speak out of turn on that. They're very expensive, over $1 million, north of $2-3 million projects, but I don't want to misspeak exact number. And then the improvements here at this intersection, VDOT's project pipeline study is completing those, and they have a consultant working on those, and so they're still kind of wrapping up those final numbers, but I'll be sure to get you those. But it would all be, if approved and we got the funding, it would all be grant funding.
Yeah. And
then it does go in the 6-year improvement plan, so it is important to note that even if approved, we wouldn't see construction of these for 6-7 years from now. Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions? So we'll be doing these separate, so we'll start first. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution supporting the Lou DeWitt pedestrian project?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Stover. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, this is an employee of the Virginia Department of Transportation. I'll be abstaining.
Thank you, Mr. Short. All in favor of adopting the resolution supporting the Lou DeWitt pedestrian project application, say aye. Aye. Ayes have it, 4 with Mr. Short abstaining due to VDOT employment. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution supporting the Rosser Avenue project?
Yes, I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Sloat. Any discussion?
Just, Mr. Mayor, same song, different verse. I'll be abstaining as well.
All in favor of adopting the resolution supporting the Rosser Avenue project application, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it with Mr. Short abstaining due to VDOT employment. Item 10 is to consider appointing an individual to the Economic Development Authority Board. Is there a motion to appoint Ms. Katie Harris to the EDA Board?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Is there a second?
No second.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item 11 is to consider reappointing 2 individuals to the Library Board of Trustees, each to a 4-year term expiring August 31st, 2030, and appointing an individual to an unexpired 4-year term ending August 31st, 2027. Is there a motion to reappoint Ms. Megan Drummond and Ms. Pamela Sullivan to the Board of Library Trustee, each for 4-year terms expiring August 31st, 2030?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Mr. Short. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Is there a motion to appoint Ms. Wendy Castanel to an unexpired term ending August 31st, 2027?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item 12 is consider reappointing a representative to the Shenandoah Valley Regional Airport Commission for a 3-year term expiring August 31st, 2029. Is there a motion to reappoint Mr. Jeff Ward to the Regional Airport Commission?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Sloat. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Comby. Is there any discussion?
I think we gotta give Mr. Ward a cake, because he's been on the commission since 2001, so I was gonna
has.
say,
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it 5-0. Item 13 is to consider reappointing Mr. Terry Short as council's representative to the Central Shenandoah Planning District Commission for a 3-year term expiring June 30th, 2029. Is there a motion to reappoint Mr. Short?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Sloat. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it 5-0. Item 14 is communication, correspondence, and calendar. Mr. Hamp.
I don't have anything this evening except for a brief announcement regarding, so we understand that the live stream has been interrupted or isn't functioning properly. Our technicians are working to fix that, and we hope that that service will be restored in a moment or two. In any case, a full and complete recording of the meeting will be posted to our website immediately following the meeting. Other than that, I don't have anything.
Thank you. Item 15 is citizen comment.
Yes, sir. Charles Smith.
So as the first citizen comes to the podium, I would like to remind everyone of the rules. The green light comes on, you have 4 minutes. When you have 30 seconds left, the yellow light will come on for you to wrap up and be seated.
Thank you.
Thank you all in advance.
Mayor, City Council members, my name is Charles Smith. My wife and I live at 240 Booker Dale Road here in the city. I spoke about a month ago about my concerns regarding speeding on Booker Dale. That's what I'll be talking about tonight, but first I want to express my appreciation for what the city has done. They've come out and put up some additional speed limit signs, including an electronic one that displays the speed. We hope they do some good. I want to thank City Council too for moving forward with projects that seem to be necessary in spite of a local publisher that I'm sure y'all all know by name, and the fact that we have a avowed enemy in the Capitol building, and things need to move forward. Bookerdale Road is about 8/10 of a mile. And I looked around the city and I thought, where is there another stretch of roadway that's similar to that? And turns out there is one right behind us. It runs from Arch Avenue over to just past the high school. That's about 8/10 of a mile. That stretch of road has parallel parking pretty much the entire length of that stretch on both sides. There are 3 stoplights, all have controlled pedestrian crossings. There's, I think, 4 more individual crossings there. There are a number of side streets. All these things together make speeding on that stretch of road virtually impossible. Imagine for a moment as we meet that all those things were gone from that stretch of road. And there were people racing up and down that road at 40, 50, 60 miles an hour. That's Bookerdale Road. Every day, every hour, every minute. You want to put some extra money in your pocket? Just put an officer out there. They will catch people not just for speeding, for reckless driving day and night. I don't understand why people use that road except as a cut through. people try to avoid Lou DeWitt to save 3 minutes delivering their number 7 meal without pickles,
It's not
and
fun.
they cut through on Bookerdale to do it. All they're doing is avoiding 3 lights, one on Lou DeWitt, one at the corner of Lou DeWitt and Main, and the other one on Main in front of Amazon. Please, I appreciate what's been done so far. It's time to enforce that limit. That's all. Thank you.
Janet Rawlings?
Yes, hi, good evening. My name is Janet Rawlings. I live at 615 Elk Mountain Road in Afton, just outside the city line. I'm not a Waynesboro resident, but I live close enough that the Northrop Grumman facilities emissions do not stop for me any more than they stop for anyone inside the city limits. That is the point. Pollution does not check and address before it settles into the air we all breathe. I attended the DEQ public hearing on the Northrop Grumman permit on July 23rd at the Waynesboro High School. 64 residents spoke that night before the meeting had to be cut off due to time constraints. The room was full, and there were many more people in the audience who wanted to speak but never got the chance. I am here tonight because of what I saw and who I didn't see. Everyone in a position of authority in this process, the DEQ, this council, Northrop Grumman itself, likes to claim they are being transparent and impartial. The record says otherwise. Consider how we even got that hearing. The original public comment period on this permit relied on a single public notice placed in a newspaper that almost no one in this community reads. That is not an oversight. That is a comment period designed to end quietly without anyone showing up to object. It took over 200 residents individually demanding a real hearing before DEQ agreed to hold one at all. That is not transparency. That is the appearance of process without the substance of it. And when that hearing finally happened, when 64 of us stood up and spoke, and dozens more never even got the chance about our water, our air, and our children's health, Northrop Grumman did not send a single representative. They were not there. And by my count, only one member of this council attended either. 64 residents rearranged their evenings to be in that room. Many more wanted to. I do not understand why this body could not do the same. So when I hear talk of transparency and impartiality in this process, I have to ask, transparent to whom? Impartial toward whom? It has not been transparent to the people who live here, and it has not been impartial in whose absence gets excused and whose presence gets demanded. I have 3 questions for this council tonight. First, why was attendance from this body so limited at a hearing of this significance to our community? Second, what is this council doing to ensure future public hearings on major industrial permits are actually publicized, not just technically noted, but genuinely reaching the people who will live here with the consequences? Third, will this council commit to being present, visibly and in force, for the next DEQ forum on this permit? Residents showed up. The applicant did not. This council was largely absent too. I'm asking you tonight to tell us what that means and what you intend to do differently before the next opportunity for public input closes. Thank you.
Stephanie Holloway?
Good evening. I know my time here is limited, so I'm going to get straight to the point. I do not believe that the Mackenzie Wilson case was handled correctly at all by the police department. And I am going to give some information why as I speak on behalf of her and her family. If Pastor Elaine reported Mackenzie missing on Monday, July 13th, and gave a police interview that same day, why did the police department wait until Thursday, July 16th, to issue a missing child alert? Why was a Cody alert never issued despite concerns about Mackenzie's health? I'm not asking these questions to blame without evidence. I'm asking because I care about this community and because every missing child deserves an immediate, thorough response. This community rallied around my family when my son was sick and dying. People dropped everything what they were doing to help us, and I've tried to pay it forward ever since. So when I learned that the young daughter of one of my high school friends was missing, I asked only one question of Chanda, who was organizing this search: how can I help? For 2 days, I handed out flyers, knocked on doors, and spoke to anyone who might have information. During that time, I saw Waynesboro Police Department only once, and they were there for less than 10 minutes. Where was the urgency? Where was the visible law enforcement presence? Where was the coordinated effort this situation deserved? The department said it did everything it could, but if a Cody alert was never issued when one may have been appropriate, how can the public have confidence that every available resource was used? This case appears to have been mishandled, and our community deserves answers. More importantly, Mackenzie deserved every possible effort to bring her home safely. I am angry because I believe every child matters, and I want to know why this response fell short and what will be done to ensure another family never has to ask these questions again. As far as I'm concerned, the Waynesboro Police Department owes this community a clear explanation. Thank you.
Elaine Rose.
Good evening. I am Pastor Elaine Rose. I am Mackenzie Wilson's grandmother. I have a real problem, Mayor, when you sit here and give a speech that the police did everything they could for Mackenzie to come home. Mackenzie was not found in Waynesboro. She was found in Virginia Beach on that Monday, 8 days later. On Thursday, after Mackenzie left on the 13th, on that Thursday, a police sat on my front porch and said to me, "What would you like us to do now?" I don't get paid to be the chief of police. I don't get paid to do their job, but we were doing it. I have a problem if it wouldn't, and people in this room are making all kinds of comments about Chanda, but when I posted on Facebook my baby was missing, she rallied and got at least 100 to 50 or 200 people together. They started passing out flyers looking. It took that for the awareness to be brought. Mackenzie has some medical issues, and I said that from day one. They did not give an Amber Alert because she was not snatched by a member of our family. And when I asked to see you, Mayor, and I asked for a meeting with the police chief, it was pushed to the side like her life was not important. I Googled today how many missing children are in Virginia, and they said in this area there's like 77, and 45 of them are African American. I have a problem. We don't get the same attention that Caucasian children get. And that's unfair. We pay the same taxes. We support the people. We vote. We do all the things for y'all to have the jobs y'all have. And when it comes to our children, not just African American, Hispanic children too, black and brown children all over this region, it seems to be as if there's a stop and go. Look for her while no crime is happening, then stop when crime is happening. You spending all this money on unnecessary stuff. Why don't you just spend some money and put 2 policemen on the force to always look for our runaway children? Solve the problem that needs to be solved. I'm not here to ban or hit anybody, because some of those policemen that came to me were wonderful. They were wonderful. But some of the things that happened during the investigation, and how can you say they did a good job when you haven't spoken to me or her dad about the kind of job they did? These people sitting in this room walked Waynesboro morning, noon, and night. And half the time we did not see police. And you think we here just fussing? No, we just standing up for what is right for us. You said the Pledge of Allegiance. Did you listen to the words? We are all God's people. And we all have a right to the same treatment. I know we got somebody in D.C. talking crazy out the side of their mouth. But one thing is true, we all serve a God that payday will show up after a while. And you will have to answer for not only how you have treated Mackenzie, but other children. They are important. They're the next people to vote for you and pay your salary. Why you pushing her to the side or whoever else's children is missing?
Angie Davis.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to say I was a part of the Boots on the Ground, helping out, looking out for Mackenzie. I have 14 grandchildren. 14. So I put myself in Mrs. Rose's place. I have 3 granddaughters out of all of them. So I feel as though I put myself in for her. And my only question is, and like she said, I didn't say the Waynesboro police didn't do because I was one that called when they said we seen that the dog sniffed at a house. And they called the police, and they came. They came, and they could do with so much, and we understand that. We wanted to do more, but it couldn't happen that way. But what we asking for, and what I'm asking for is, what if it's one of my grandchildren? What are you going to do to help me and show me and prove to me that you're going to be there to help me to put yourself in the predicament and position that I am in, that Mrs. Rose was in? She was in a very hard situation that she did not know what to do. She was bonded. And all I'm asking is for you all to just realize that she is a woman of God. And when Chanda called, we came. And if anyone ever calls, and I'm telling you now, I will be there for you all, no matter who you are, whether you're black, white, or whatever, because it's in my heart. And that's all I want to say. And may I say, God bless you all. Thank you.
Letitia Hodge or Hogue.
I'm also here for the same reason. I also participated with the search for Mackenzie, and I firmly believe that had it not been for all of us pulling together as a group and a community, making the flyers, walking, posting everywhere we could, searching, getting leads that the police probably didn't even have. We were out there doing that. And it's just concerning because I do feel like Mackenzie was failed. Her grandmother was failed. Her father was failed. I mean, where was the protocol at? It was swept under the rug. Why wasn't there a Cody put out, knowing that this child had diabetes and desperately needed her medicine? And I just feel like there was no sense of urgency had it not been for social media and people posting and things like that. That's the only reason why it got out there to the public. And that's what we did. That's not what the Waynesboro Police Department did. That's what we did. And also, why did the mayor of Harrisonburg respond? Did Stanton Police Department, did they know anything about her missing? So it's a lot of things that went hidden and not no sense of urgency at all. My concern is, of course, I'm a mother. Most of us in here are mothers, fathers, uncles, grandmothers, grandfathers. My son is 5 years old. He might look up to one of y'all one day. He might look up to somebody that wears a badge. Am I confident knowing that my child's going to be safe? He's going to have some form of trust or compassion. I can't feel confident. So I feel like there needs to be more things done. And I don't want to see this happen to another child or family member. Thank you.
Chanda McGuffin.
Good evening. I apologize, I did not put my married name down there. My husband always corrects me, Chanda McGuffin Tucker. I am a resident of Waynesboro. It's really easy to sweep blame on Chanda. It's real easy to say that's just, y'all know how Chanda is. Chanda's making a bigger deal out of this than what needs to happen. So it's real easy. Mr. Mayor, I know you had to read the letter from the attorneys. I get it. I know it's protocol. Listen, there was a lot of things that went wrong. Wasn't done, wasn't followed through. I like the chief of police. He's always been there when I've needed him. I actually am very surprised at how this all came about. I did not know about Mackenzie missing until I saw a post at 1 a.m. Wednesday night, Thursday morning from her grandmother looking for her. When I got up Thursday morning, I had forgotten because I had a busy day, but that afternoon, I reached out to her and apologized for being so late. I really thought she was home. I had missed something or whatever. She said she wasn't home. At that time, I contacted the mayor. So for the police officer detective who asked Miss Elaine, told Miss Elaine, you got somebody calling the mayor. And so the mayor is talking to the chief. And so the chief is now calling me. It was me. I called the mayor, and the mayor had no idea this girl was missing. That, number one, is an issue for me. The next day, I get contacted by the mayor of Harrisonburg. She asked me what could she do, where was Mackenzie, what was Waynesboro police doing. She didn't want to step on any toes. I told her at that point what was going on. She said she would reach out to Waynesboro. She posted on Facebook. When we thought we had spotted Mackenzie on Saturday evening, we got two officers were out there, Officer Weaver and Officer Smith. They said they had no idea a teenage girl was missing in the city of Waynesboro who did not have their insulin, who she did not have her insulin. That's a problem. I know we want to paint a story and a picture that the Waynesboro Police Department was perfect in this situation, but they were not. That's just a fact. And I know that we make mistakes. And I thank God that Mackenzie is back. By the grace of God, she's back. By the grace of God, she's okay. But the next one, it may not be. See, I'm a diabetic. I was a diabetic at 14, so I know what Mackenzie was going through. By day 8, she could have been in a diabetic coma. She could have died from the diabetic coma. Children will be children. She may have walked out on her own accord, but with the sex trafficking that is happening in this country and in the state of Virginia, they should immediately, the child left without her cell phone. Teenage child does not leave without their cell phone. That should have been a red flag to the police department from the very beginning.
Betsy Solomon.
Hi, good evening. I'm Betsy Solomon. I live on Cherokee Road. And I went to the meeting on Thursday night, and I was shocked to find out all the information about Northrop Grumman that I did not know. I have done a lot of research since then, and I really can't understand why. And I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for 45 years, and I worked in cardiac rehab and pulmonary rehab. And then I worked at the free clinic when it was there. And I've seen so many patients struggle to breathe. And it's very, very sad. And yet you have let this company come and pollute our air. That's what they plan to do. They say they're not going to pollute it that much. Any pollution in this area is bad. You got 2 mountain ranges, and it's going to go right up the valley. And it's going to cause problems for these, especially older people and children. And then why, oh why, would you let them build that building where it is? It's near a shopping center, it's near a park, it's near schools, it's near old people homes. I mean, I like to go to the park, and I run around there. And do I feel comfortable knowing I'm breathing in more pollutants than I need to? And so I am very horrified that the council, not all of you, but some of the council, agreed to let this company come in, and they are notorious for causing pollution across the country. I lived in Queens, New York, when Bethpage was the news, because they lied and said they weren't polluting the water, but they were. Horrible. It's a Superfund. So why you would let a company like that move to a populated area of Waynesboro? I mean, I don't think it should be in Waynesboro at all, but of all the places, it has to be the worst place. Coiner Springs, because of the water, and the park, and Ridgeview, the park, and YMCA, kids. I mean, what were you thinking? And I don't care how much money you think you're going to make from them. They're lying to you. You know the people who are going to get jobs with them? They're going to be people who have high college degrees. Maybe some of our people do, but they're also going to have high security clearance. And how many of the high school students that are graduating from Waynesboro are going to have those requirements to get a job there? So they're going to be pulling in employees from other places. So here we are suffering from pollution, and other people will be getting the jobs. So I am horrified, and I hope city council in the future will think about the people they represent. Because those who voted for this, did a horrible job. You did not really study what this company is about. They have lied again and again, and they have more than one Superfund beside Bethpage. So why would you believe that they're not going to pollute us and make it horrible in the air, and then, of course, it'll go in the water supply? And why are they getting our water? Right now, we're in a drought, and they're going to take our water from us? It's like, no, we shouldn't be giving them our water. And I've lived here 29 years, and I love this town. But it makes me very sad that members of council and other people have allowed Northrop Grumman to come to this town and destroy it. And that's what they'll do. And unless you guys stand up and talk to DEQ about not letting them do this or regulating what they do, because they want to self-regulate. Why do you think that is? Because they're going to lie.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That's all.
Item 16 is a closed session requested by the city manager under Code of Virginia Sections 2.2-3711A3, disposition of real property located at 1001 Mount Tory Road. Is there a motion?
Mayor, I move to recess into a closed meeting in order to discuss the disposition of real property located at 1001 Mount Tory Road, Lyndhurst, Virginia, where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the city's negotiating strategy as authorized by Section 2.2-3711A and 3 of the Virginia Code.
Is there a second?
A second?
Is there any discussion? This requires a roll call vote. Ms. Portal? Aye.
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 Closed session.
I move to adopt the following resolution. Whereas the City Council of Waynesboro has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this council that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of Waynesboro hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, one, only public business matters were lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and two, only such business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the City Council of Waynesboro.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? We're in open session. Item 17, is there a motion to adjourn?
I
make the motion.
Point of order, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you both.
Point
A
of
roll
order.
call
Yeah,
vote.
Roll call vote.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Yeah.
My apologies.
Get
Call for
excited.
roll call vote. Ms. Bono. Aye.
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 Aye, aye.
We're in open session.
Aye, Popeye.
Item 17, is there a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Thank you,
Second.
Mr. Sloat. Thank you, Mr. Short. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned.